Hey folks, this is El Camino Guy, and I'm just going to do a short video here to give you a little insight. Here's the deal. What you're looking at. What is that? A Viper. Looks like a Viper car alarm, doesn't it? Yes, it does. This happens to be the Viper 3105V, also known as the Viper 350 car alarm. It's basically a what they consider a starter car alarm. Well, here's the deal. This video isn't going to be about installing car alarms or that kind of thing, so much as it is going to be about compatibility and replaceability. The short story is that I've had a Viper car alarm installed in El Camino for about almost 20 years. Well, about a few weeks ago, the alarm brain decided to start going wacky and it's just not responding right anymore. And well, it did its duty, but it's done. So I needed to replace it. But I was thinking, what's the easiest and quickest way to do that? Well, I was thinking if I could stay in the same product family, same manufacturer, I might have a chance of doing an almost plug and play kind of swap. Because really the only problem I had was with the brain, which is this item right there. And I was thinking, well, is it possible that in the last 20 years that Viper still made an alarm that was compatible with the original harness, which is this thing. This harness contains now the power connections, the sensor wire connections, relay for parking lights, all that, all in this nifty little bundle. So I did a little research, and what I had found out is that the Viper 500 PC, which is what I had, also known as the Viper 500 HF, that thing came out around 1997 and was popular till about the early 2000s. Is basically the same setup as everything you see here with the 3105V. The only difference being the way the valet switch and the LED lights mounted. Other than that, though, it's basically pin for pin identical. In fact, if we look here, one thing that Viper doesn't give you anymore is very detailed instructions about how to install, because they really want you to use a professional installer. And if you're not used to doing things like alarm installs and heavy electronic work, then I would suggest you probably defer to a professional. But I did a little research, and it even kind of bears it out here. If you look at these specs and the pinouts for the primary connector here, which, as you're seeing it right here, they match up identically to the specs on the 500 PC. Those, a 10-year older alarm. So, that in hand, I thought, well, I did a little more research, and I was looking specifically for pictures. And what I was looking for pictures of was specifically this connector. This is the primary connector right here, this big one. And what I found out was that this is the same connector, the same pinout, the same values for the 500 PC as the 350/3105V. Well, that's a great thing, because that means that I could replace my alarm without having to rip out the entire alarm wiring harness that I basically had to build, and I could be on the road again. So we gave that a little try. We gave that the old college try. I thought, well, the worst that'll happen is I got to basically rip out the harness and put in this brand new one. Well, it turns out I did not have to do that. In fact, what you're looking at right here is not the 3105V. This is actually the old 500 PC that died. And they look so similar and are pinned out so and have so much in common that you really, from first glance, couldn't tell them apart. Now, what do you get with the kit? Basically everything you see here. You see there's standard Avenger siren. You get some nifty Viper stickers. You get the harnesses right here, an instruction book, a quick install guide, which really isn't an install guide, and you get two remotes. Here, I've got my spare keys on one, but you get these two remotes. Now, this is what's called a one-way alarm, not a two-way. So you're not going to be, hooking up anything to with an app with a smartphone or anything like that. Viper does offer those, but I didn't want that. I only needed a basic alarm, and I'm not trying to trigger door locks or power windows or remote start or anything like that. This is a basic security system, pretty much a 5-zone system. So, and what I've got set up in my car is basically 3 shock sensors I've got a motion sensor. Basically, if my window was down and the alarm was armed and you stuck your arm in the car, the alarm would go off. So it's basically got a radar proximity kind of sensor in it. It has the parking light flash relay, and of course, it's got the LED flash. It's got the starter kill. So it's a basic alarm system. I mean, pretty much the basics that you need for, security in a vehicle today in an aftermarket security system. But the biggest thing to know here is that, the only major difference between this alarm and between the 3105V and this original is really the way you use the Valley button and where the LED's mounted. It's in its one self-contained package, and I'll show you that right up here next. The biggest difference between the two is how the valet switch and LED status indicator work. And you can see from here, instead of being the classic LED stuck in the dash and momentary switch down in the kick panel, this model of Viper has decided to incorporate both of them into one module plus the antenna. And in this case, in my car, it made most sense to mount it up here in this seatbelt tray. And I just ran the wire down inside the A-pillar cover here and all the way down to where the electronics of the alarm are. The whole reason for that being, I live in a state that gets a lot of sun and it's very, very warm. And this thing wouldn't last a year without turning into dust from the UV and all that. So this is probably the best place. Now, not the most visible place for the LED, but it does show up. It does at night. It puts a big blue glow all around inside the car. You can see that. Plus, you can see the reflection in the hood of the paint. So it's catalyst for you to keep your car clean, I guess. But that's the biggest difference externally you'll see between the 3105V, 350, and the 500 PC or 500 HF models of the Viper alarms. Other than that, they're pretty much functionally the same. So what have we learned? Well, like I said, this isn't an install video, and I'm sure as heck wasn't going to show you where I installed the alarm and all the intricacies and things that I had to go through, because that would kind of defeat the purpose of having an alarm on this car now, wouldn't it? But just know that there is a route. If you have an older Viper alarm, especially a 500 PC or an old 350 from the late 90s, early 2000 eras, if you buy the 3105V, and I got mine on Amazon for $63 shipped, if you just have a dead alarm brain, $63 can get you rolling again, and it's a lot cheaper and a lot less work than having to put a brand new alarm and brand new wiring and everything else. Now, I would caution that you make sure that, if you're doing what I did, make sure that your harness is good. That you don't have a problem with the harness, and that took some work. I mean, I had to go through the entire alarm harness to make sure I didn't have a short or a disconnected wire or something like that. But in the end, I mean, this worked out for me. It was a lot cheaper, and it got this thing secured again, and I'm feeling a lot better when I'm parking this thing and have to walk away from it. Anyway, just know that if you've got a Viper 350 or a Viper 500, an old one from the late 90s, early 2000s in your classic ride, the 3105V is just about a darn near drop-in replacement if your alarm brain dies. So that's about it, guys. I hope this was somewhat helpful to you, and you have a great old day. I'm out.